All right, I'm going to show you guys how to solve an equation the most efficiently, and I've got some steps written out, so feel free to grab a piece of paper and have these written out and just follow along with these steps anytime you're solving, and you'll be in good shape with your solving. All right, so our first step, we're going to distribute. You may not need to distribute, not all equations involve distributing, but what you want to look for is if you have any parentheses with something in front that's indicating multiplication. So this 4/3, we're going to distribute that. This set of parentheses has a subtraction in front. So it's helpful to go ahead and put a 1 right in front of those parentheses, and we will distribute a -1 into that set of parentheses. So first we'll distribute the 4/3. 4/3 times x is 4/3 x. Anytime we multiply, we want to pay attention to our signs. We have a positive 4/3 times a -5. There will be a negative, and then 4/3 times 5 is a 20/3. You guys have those graphing calculators in class with a fraction button. Feel free to use that button to help with some of this work. I'm going to carry down the +2 equals that 4 will carry down, and we will distribute this -1. So -1 times x is a -x. You also could write -1x if you prefer. And then when we distribute the -1 to the -3, we just need to notice that is a negative times a negative, so +3. All right, so our first step, do any distributing that you are able to do. Next step is we're going to clear out the fractions because we all can agree we don't love equations with fractions. We'll do this using that fraction trick, which just means we'll multiply all the terms by the common denominator. So looking at this equation, we can see we have a 3 and a 3. Well, that's pretty easy to find a common denominator of 3. And we're going to multiply every single term by a 3. That will get rid of our fractions, just, helping us to be more successful when solving. So 3 times 4/3, all you need to do is 3 times 4, which is 12. Take that 12 and divide it by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4, and then the x just carries down. Minus 3 times 20 is 60. 60 divided by 3 is 20. We have to distribute to everything, even if it's not a fraction. 3 times a +2 is a +6. And on the other side of the equation, so 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times a -x is a -3x. And then 3 times a +3 is a +9. All right, so we got rid of our fractions. Our third step is we are going to combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. We're not going to move any terms across the equal sign yet. So just consider this as a barrier. We're not crossing the equal sign until we get to that step. So as I look at the left side, we have a 4x minus 20 plus 6. So this -20 and this +6 are like terms. I don't have a like term with the x, that 4x, so that's just going to stay as a 4x. And then I just do the math. What is -20 plus 6? That is a -14. I just combine them as they are. Equals, now on this side, I'm looking for any like terms. We've got this -3x, and there are no like terms. So with that x, so I might write the -3x first, because I know that's not going to change. But then we notice we have a 12 plus a 9. 12 plus 9 is a positive, so we're going to write plus +21. All right, so we combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. I mean, I think you can see this already looks like a more simplified equation. It's going to be easier when we get to our solving steps. Step 4 is we're going to get the variable to the same side. You guys are probably tempted to get these numbers to the same side, but we're not going to do that. We're going to get the variable to the same side, and we do that using addition or subtraction. A lot of people will find whichever variable is smaller and get that to the other side. It doesn't matter, but this -3x right here, We're going to add 3x to both sides because it's negative. We will do the opposite by adding. Negative 3x plus 3x is 0. That's a 0 pair. That's why we get to cross that off. And then when I come to the other side of the equation, I just have to do the same thing over here. I have to add a 3x, but I'm just going to be sure to add it to its like term, that 4x. 3x plus 4x is 7x. I'm going to carry down the minus 14 equals, and then we have a positive 21 on the other side. Now we're to our last step. We're going to solve the equation. It's a two-step equation now, which you guys have been doing for a while. We will add or subtract first when solving, and then our last step will be to divide. So we can see that we have this minus 14, so we're going to add 14 to both sides first. Carry down the 7x equals 21 plus 14 is 35. And then we said our last step would be division. So we are going to divide both sides by 7 and 30. So the 7's cancel over here, leaving us with x. We've got x solved for. 35 divided by 7 is 5. So there's an equation that kind of has all of it. We had to distribute, we had some fractions, we combined like terms on separate sides. Then you get your x's, or whatever variable it is, to the same side, and then you can solve. It's a two-step equation. You'll add or subtract first and then divide.